Okay, my name is Nur Akila Karia, and for my industrial training, I was doing at Malaysian Palm Oil Board or MPOB under the Engineering and Processing Research Division, specifically in the Energy and Environment Unit. So in this company, I was supervised by Dr. Teh Soek Sin. So during my internship, I was involved in the two main projects. The first project focusing on using all palm fiber as dietary fiber for the food industry. So I was assisted in the preparing cookie formulation and conducting sensory evaluation based on the appearance, aroma, texture, taste, and overall acceptability. So that was the overall methodology for project 1. I repeated the experiment 3 times to obtain more reliable and consistent result. So once I completed project 1, I then moved on to the project 2. So optimization of overall production from all plant biomass through an acid catalyst hydrolysis process. So I gained experience in sample preparation, operating a Hessler reactor, handling acidic sample, and preparing a sample for HPLC analysis. So that was the overall methodology for project 2. For each optimization condition, which is acid, biomass loading, temperature, and others, it will be repeated 3 times to ensure that the results were obtained were reliable and consistent. So, and one of the biggest lessons that I learned was from this experiment that it did not go always according to the plan. So, for example, during one reactor experiment, fine biomass particle blocked the probe. This affected the steam flow to the condenser and caused the reactor to overheat. We had to identify the problem and improve the process by using a biomass with larger and coarser particle size. So at first, a situation like this could be frustrating because we had already spent time preparing the experiment. However, I gradually learned that becoming frustrated would not solve the problem. Instead, I learned to pause, understand what had happened, discuss the problem with my supervisor and colleague, and think about what possible improvement. This taught me that resilience in research does not mean that everything will always work. It means being willing to try again, learn from mistakes, and continue improving even when the results are not what expected. So my internship also improved my communication and teamwork skill. So uh, at the beginning, I was sometimes hesitant to ask questions because I was afraid that I must ask something obvious. However, I learned that asking questions is an important part of the learning. I become more comfortable explaining what I understood, identify what I did not understand, and asking for guidance when necessary. So, working with other interns also taught me to coordinate tasks, listen to different perspectives, and support one another when changes occur. So, this experience helped me become a more confident communicator and team member. So another important lesson was learning how to manage my emotion. There were a moment when I felt nervous, confused, tired, or disappointed, especially when I was learning something new or when experiment did not produce the expected outcome. Instead of allowing this emotion to affect my work, I learned to recognize them and manage my response. I become more patient with myself and learned to focus on improvement rather than expecting myself to be perfect. So I believe this was the biggest changes I experienced. When I first started, I was more focused on whether I was doing this correctly. By the end of my internship, I become more focused on understanding why I was doing something and how I could improve. Overall, my internship taught me that professional development is not only about gaining technical knowledge, it is also about learning how to communicate, accept feedback, manage emotion, remain patient, and continue learning despite challenge. I believe I have become more confident, independent, and resilient compared to when I first started. Moving forward, I hope to continue developing both my scientific and interpersonal skills and apply the resilient and problem-solving skill I gained to my future study and career. So, at the end, I'm grateful to Dr. Teh Soek Sin, the staff at the Energy Environment Unit, and my fellow intern and everyone who guided me and supported me throughout this internship. So, this internship has been an important part of my personal and professional development, and I believe the lesson I learned will continue to guide me in the future. Thank you.